Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. Hope you're all right out there. Wanted to do a brief share on anxiety and what it's like living with anxiety. So I imagine that everybody out there has at least experienced anxiety once, realistically, probably more than once. So there's levels of anxiety. So we can have natural, normal anxiety, when we're about to sit an exam or go for our driving test or something like that. We can have a natural level of anxiety, and it's actually there to sort of fuel us, to make us really hanker down and focus and apply ourselves, and we feel under pressure as well. That's natural anxiety. But there's other layers of anxiety that I find really sad that's becoming more and more prevalent. And working as a counsellor, obviously I'm working with mental health, and I get themes and pockets, as most therapists do, with certain types of clients at any one time. And the levels of anxiety is so rife. It's really sad to see and to watch. Now, I can empathise because I have generalised anxiety disorder anyway. And what makes me laugh about that, and I do have to find the humour in it, otherwise it would drive me nuts, which it does, is that I don't know what it's like not to live with anxiety, because I've had it ever since I can remember, very small. And of course I didn't know that's what it was. I lived with it for so long until I started questioning it, thinking, what is this? I'm not sure everybody else lives like this. It was normal. And I've learned ways and means to help manage that. Doesn't mean it's got rid of, because if you've had a very traumatic life, you can have a level of anxiety, depression, stress, whatever it might be, that will be tapped into very easily. Because if you've had a lot of trauma, the wiring of your brain actually changes. If you had a brain scan and it was mapped, you would actually see that there may be differences in your brain. My family think that's hilarious, because they definitely think I've got a different brain to most people, and maybe not in the best ways, but what it means is that we can be more predisposed. But with everything that's happening in society at the moment, and there's going to be so much more, I mean, I can feel it, it's about how do we manage anxiety, and how is anxiety related to. So it's quite shocking to still recognise how many people don't believe in anxiety, don't believe in mental health, don't believe in anything they cannot see. But we have got to move past this as a collective. Just because you cannot see an illness means what? What does that actually mean? We've got to evolve as human beings to be able to understand that if somebody is saying they're anxious, we can relate to that, we can empathise, we can be supportive. I think the very old-fashioned way that a lot of societies still live, I struggle with that. I find society still very old-fashioned and not fitting where we're at, why we're not adapting. But that sense of, if I cannot see it, I cannot understand it. But why? Why can we not understand things that we cannot see? Yes, we may not know what it's like, and actually be really grateful if you don't know what it's like to have anxiety or mental health. But that does not take away the ability to be kind, caring, considerate, asking that person about their experience, asking that person, what do you need from me? Just being a soundboard for a moment, giving that person somebody's number to go and get therapy or support or whatever. I don't know if we can keep excusing that lack that is still out there of people being able to do that. So if I had a broken leg, I'd probably get loads of empathy from people about what a nightmare that must be and how painful and blah, blah, blah. But if it's something that's invisible, why are we not adapting to just at least understand that somebody else is having a tough time? I'm disappointed how much people can still really be blasé about mental health, can be really dismissive. I've had that loads, and I've done a lot of work around that to rise above it and think they're actually not worth my time. But I'm not saying that you have to get to that stage in your life. It's about what do you need to express to people to help them understand? And is it okay for people around you that may not understand it? I mean, it's one thing not understanding, but if they're dismissive and rude and making your life harder about it, that's something else. And maybe I'm just having a Saturday morning rant about mental health, anxiety, and how passionate I am about raising that awareness. because it's everywhere. I'm seeing it coming through my door all the time. It's not just a pocket of where I live, it's everywhere. We got to get on the same page about this, because we're all going to experience anxiety at some point. I hope you don't have generalized anxiety disorder and live with it all the time, where it becomes normal, because in a way that's not okay either. But we need, as a collective, to start grouping together with support. You do not have to be a therapist to learn how to empathise, and you can go and learn to empathise. Sometimes that's all that's needed. Maybe that person just needs 2 minutes worth of reassurance, or just to have somebody acknowledge that they're aware that that person's not having a good day. Anxiety is something we're all going to be impacted by, so let's get on the same page. Have a good Saturday.